everyone, it's Shel C from Paper Actio Studio, and today I'm sharing with you a mixed media pendant. You'll need a few extra things that you might not have around the house: some microscope slides, some foil tape, and some craft wire. These things can all be purchased easily on Amazon for cheap. These microscope slides are made out of glass and they are 3 inches by 1 inches. So the first thing you're going to do is find some colorful paper. It could be anything from dictionary pages to scrapbook paper to leftover jelly print scraps and even drop paper. Any colorful scrap bits that you have, and I know we all have them. They're everywhere. I'm going to be using this piece of drop paper, so I cut it down to 3 by 1, and that's going to be the basis of my teeny tiny mixed media thing. Now I'm going to decorate it. You can use stickers, you can use stencils, you can use stamps, you can use any kind of little punches or die cuts or things that you have lying around the house. Anything, tickets, text from a magazine cutout, whatever you want. So I picked this little thing that says adore, and then I'm going to add some extra color using a couple sprays. These are the Media Line Deco Art sprays that do not run when water's applied to them. So I like them a lot. Add a little bit of extra green and orange. And then I'm going to use some rubber stamps. Rubber stamps are small, and so they're easy to use on this type of project. And the only thing that you need to remember is the ink that you use needs to be permanent, because you're going to be putting some sloppy glue on this and it will get all smeary if you're using any type of product that will run with water. That includes your sprays and your markers or whatever else you're going to use, watercolors, anything like that. You just want to have some pretty permanent, non-running, non-smearing stuff. So I thought my little teeny tiny mixed media thing was a little bit, I needed a little bit more white space, so I added a little bit of gesso and then just dabbed it off a little bit. And now I'm adding my focal images. These are dragonfly stamps, and I used my black archival ink to do that, of course. Next I'm going to color them in, and I'm going to use my Posca pens because these are opaque and they will color over the top of all that bright color in the background to make my dragonfly stand out a little bit. While I'm coloring, I wanted to tell you guys that this video is part of the Inspiration Conspiracy Video Hop, and you should all look at the rest of the people's videos in my group. The way that you do that is to go to the description below, and there's a list of links. Just click on the top one and it'll take you to the next video in the series, and then when that one's done you just click on the top one. You just keep clicking on the top one on each person's list, and then when you get back to mine you will know that you've done them all. And then there's also a link for the older groups also hopping, and you can go to them if you're really inspired. So I added a little bit of splatters with one of my pens, and now I'm adding some more splatters with white gesso that was left over there, and I'm going to dry that up. And then sometimes when I'm using stamps in mixed media, I feel that the black lines are not black enough, so I'm going to go over them with my fine tip Posca pen. They just don't seem dark enough to me. And then of course I'll use my white pen to highlight, because yeah, you've seen me do that 1,000 times if you watch my videos. I like to highlight with my white pen. It's just too cool. And then once that's done, I'll add my little word. I do wish that that word was in black instead of dark gray, because it doesn't stand out as much as I want. But I'm going to take a pit pen and add shadows around it. Pit pens are nice because they can smear a little bit, so you can do nice shadows with them. Also do some shadows around the dragonflies as well. And then I decide I want a heart, because adore, heart, I needed a heart. So I used one of my pit pens to just isolate one section of that stamp, just a little heart. It wasn't dark enough, however, once I stamped it, so I tried to darken it with the pit pens, and then I just decided to use the Posca pens again because they're opaque. I could make that pop out nice and red. And then a few more little highlights on the word with my white pen. And I think I'm about done with my little teeny tiny mixed media canvas, and I'm going to encase it under glass. Now this is where you need some glue. It could be anything from Mod Podge to crystal accents or glossy accents or one of those type of glues, or probably even white school glue, although I've never tried it. And you are going to put a sloppy coat of it right over the top of the picture, and then put that slide on top of that and squish it down. Squish it down from the back, make sure there's no bubbles. And then I like to put a coat of the glue on the back as well. And then I need to set this aside to dry. While it's drying, I'm going to make a bail. This is some craft wire, 16 gauge. And I'm going to cut off a piece that's 3 inches long and then smooth it out so that it's nice and smooth. Then I'm going to fold that piece in half, and I didn't get it quite perfect, so I'm going to need to cut the 2 legs to be the same length because one of them is a little bit longer. Then once it's all to my satisfaction, basically looks like a bobby pin right now. I'm going to take the bent part, the center part, and curl that around my pliers that have round nose pliers, I guess they're called, to make a loop, and that is going to be where the chain goes through on my bail so that I can attach this to a chain and make it into a necklace. Then with the 2 little legs that are left, I'm going to curl them outward in a spiral, and I like to curl them outward. If you curl them inward, they do look like a upside down heart when you put them on, but I think outward's better. They look like wings kind of. So I'm curling each one, trying to keep them similar. I could never get them perfect. I'm not a jewelry maker, but I do try. And I'm going off screen because I'm using my eyeballs to look up close. That's why. And I just keep adjusting them until I'm satisfied with what they're like. And then now I'm going to give you a close-up here. So it's a loop and then 2 little spiral wings sticking out. So that's what my bail looks like. You could also do wire wrapping and wrap it around the pendant, or a different style of bail. This is just what I think looks cool. A lot of different options, but I like this one. Okay, so now my pendant is dry. I'm going to trim the edges. There's a little bit of excess paper, just a little teeny tiny bit. And then I'm going to clean the glass. There's some glue that got on the front of the glass when I was messing with it, but it's glass, so it comes right off. It's no big deal. Just using a baby wipe to clean it off. And now for the foil tape. This, I think I mentioned it already, but if I didn't, this is the type of tape that you use for stained glass when you are soldering your pieces of stained glass together. We're not going to do any soldering. We're not going to get anything hot out and potentially burn ourselves. We're just going to use this as tape. So it's basically metal tape with adhesive. And I'm folding it around the edges of the glass and then pressing it down, trying to make it all even on the front and back to make a frame. And it just adds so much to this project. It finishes the glass off at the edges and makes it look like jewelry. So this is 1/4 inch copper. You could also, I think, use metal tape that you buy at the hardware store for duct work. It would be silver colored, but if you just trimmed it down to 1/4 inch, you could do the same thing as this, and it might be less expensive. This stuff is about $7 for a big roll of it, which you'll probably never use up. So I've been thinking about getting some of that metal duct tape stuff. I'm not talking about the fabric-y, shiny stuff. I'm talking about the actual metal kind. Going to try that next. So once you've pressed that all down and made it smooth, I was using a bone folder to press it and smooth it. Then you're going to glue on the bail. I'm using E6000. You could use a jewelry cement or maybe even a gel super glue would work. And I'm just putting it on directly to the bail with a skewer stick, because if I squeeze the glue right onto the glass, I'll make a huge nasty mess. That's just how I am. So I'm carefully applying it and then filling it up a little bit more. I didn't feel like I had enough glue. So then I'm just going to let this thing dry for several hours, and then I'll put that chain in it and it'll be a pendant. So thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all those things, and be sure to watch everyone else's videos like I told you before. And here's some other pendants that I made. And that's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.